some things. Let's see, guys, we did have this head and shoulders that did bring us down almost to the penny, down to 103. Okay, that was the second drive down that we were looking for during that Binance liquidation event. This did set up a falling wedge right at the cusp of the breakdown of this broadening descending wedge. Now, a broadening descending wedge is actually a bullish formation. And so what I was telling you guys is that in this area, we're going to still be looking for strength because there's the possibility for an OTE, right? Which is an optimal trading entry. Now, as we know, trading can be very sloppy, right? You know, we don't control the exact wicks. You know, if you have a path that's pretty well known, you know, they can overshoot or undershoot the target, right? If you have a very clear target, the path can meander all over the place. That's just a function of volatility. Volatility is how we make our money. If there wasn't volatility in the market, the price, everyone's price would just be the exact same, and there would be no spread for us to make money on. So that is a function of markets that we have to deal with, and that's how we make our money. So that's a compromise that we live with. But I'll just mark this out for you. Basically, here's the broadening wedge. We break out. And basically, we have a back test, okay? That back test is basically your optimal trading entry. And should we find strength in this area, you know, I was saying above 113, we did have a little rejection here, okay? So, you know, we're safer around 115 to 116. Then that's going to be your optimal trading entry should we find strength in that zone. So we're still in the game, right? We're still in the game. This stuff hasn't broken down yet, not quite. We did hit the measured move for this broadening descending wedge. But again, as long as we show strength in this area, this is just a back test and we could easily find ourselves pushing back up into that direction. So let's go ahead and move on from that pattern really quick because I think we understand what's going on here. I think I'll just pull this line back here because otherwise it's starting to distract the new patterns. But if I do pull this forward, you can see that how, you know, this wick right here, okay, you're focused on the teal diagonal line here. You can see how we tried to bust above it. And you can see how we're trying to build kind of bottoming structure right here that can push through it. Now, if I was to just consider just that diagonal here as a trend line, then if we did have a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder is being put in right now, then you can imagine that any bust up through this area that ends up accumulating right here, accumulate, is going to have a 4-hour, 200, 300 squeeze. That could easily pop into this bullish, this bearish order block, fill it. As long as we hold this horizontal level, there's my 113 again, right? Then we're still in the game, okay? We're still in the game. And I just want to point out that we do have that falling wedge here still. Okay, so we've moved on from the broadening descending wedge. Now we're talking about that little bottoming formation as we're trying to break out from this falling wedge. What's the measured move of that falling wedge? Well, let me just grab it and pull it forward to back to where it retraced. Okay, so I just want to be a little bit conservative here. Oh, hey, look, that could take us all the way back up to 120, where we do have these bearish order blocks up here. So again, guys, I'm still looking for strength above 109. I'm still looking for, you know, some type of validations above 113. And then because we did have this rejection right here off of the 200, 300 EMA on the 4-hour, you know, we do have to not only take out that high, but we also have to flip this bearish order block back here at 116. That bearish order block, it's not just the high. Like some people say, like, oh, you have to just put in a higher high. It's not really the case. If you have a bearish order block behind you, you kind of have to fill up those bearish orders, and then you have to overwhelm it. So in reality, we do have to take out this high. Okay, it's not that high that gives us a higher high, you know, that's useful. It's this high that gives us it. Because if we can flip, basically, if we can absorb those bearish orders and then flip that, then our next level is that 120 to 126. And guys, if we ever take out that 126, then basically parabolic action is really on the table again. Okay, so we're basically a hop and a skip away from parabolic action. And the fear is, of course, that we could have a breakdown before then. All right. So, let's go ahead and just take a look at some of these micro patterns that we have going on here. I showed you one that can get us to the upside, right? So if we do take that, let me get rid of the EMAs because they're kind of muddying up the place. Actually, I just have a lot of lines. Sorry about that. But there's a lot going on here, guys. There's a lot going on here. So not only is there this main pattern line, because if we get above that main pattern line, we get that optimal trading entry. And then there's that inverted head and shoulders right here. But let's just say on a smaller time frame than that slightly medium time frame, I guess we would call it, there is this tiny pattern right here. Okay, there's this tiny pattern right here where if we do lose this bullish order block, which is what we're bouncing off of right now, we kind of created that. We got this bullish order block, basically under 106.6. Okay, so there's that 107 that I've been talking about. Then we do have this head and shoulders on this little micro time frame, and that could send us all the way down to the apex of this wedge. So we were talking about this falling wedge that has that measured move to 120. But that doesn't mean that we don't get a deep back test. Sometimes on falling wedges, we get deep back tests that come all the way down to the apex of the wedge. Okay, if you lose the apex of the wedge, you're kind of losing your formation. Okay, that formation gets invalidated basically. But you can come all the way down to the apex of the wedge, and that bullish falling wedge is still valid. Okay, so let's just say that they decide to, not a shallow pullback after the breakout of that falling wedge, but they do a deep pullback because of this head and shoulders right here, then we would still be expecting that 101K is still on the table. Look at this. We have a bullish order block back here that can support us. Now, it supported this whole move to the upside to the mid 120s. Okay, so this bullish order block is actually the buyers that we're looking for to push us back up to the 120s area once again. So as long as these guys step up and defend their position, or better yet, double up on their position because maybe some latecomers didn't get that price that they wanted, right? Then I would just see this as a possible opportunity. I see this breakout as a possible opportunity. I'm still very much open-minded to the bullish case. It's just that under 107, I really think that we just need to wait for that bottoming formation to happen. Above 109, we can be taking long chances. Guys, you saw that in the DGen and the scalping channel, right? Basically the high risk channel in the members perks area that, I dropped a couple charts. I forwarded those over to the AR chart ideas in the trading hub, just so that there's two places that you can see them. I just threw out a couple charts just in case there's some bullishness going on. Okay. I don't want to overwhelm you with charts when we're having actually a downtrend. Okay. So I'm not going to be putting out a bunch of bullish charts in a downtrend. That doesn't make any sense. Okay. That's going to hurt people. I don't want to hurt people. I just want to throw out some ideas for the degens who like to front run things. Okay. And just to mentally prepare, because a lot of these charts are going to look like other charts. And so it's basically the exact same setup on 1,000 different coins. We don't know which ones are going to pop off, unfortunately, right? They're picking them at random. But let's just say that we hold this support, then absolutely we have to take out 116, and then I think 120 is on the table. If we do get that deeper back test, unfortunately, it's also going to affect our measured move here. And so let's just say that we could get back up to that 116. It's just going to take a lot more work for that to be happening. Now, the hope is that if Bitcoin pulls back to 101-ish, right, back to 100K, that ETH and some of these alts are holding strength. And as long as ETH and some of these other alts are holding strength while the market is trying to get their last chance here at, 100K Bitcoin, then, again, the market can still go parabolic.